You're listening to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation.
Hello there.
All right, we are back for our recap of episode 4 of Andor. It is the beginning of a new story arc. I am Andrew, one of your co-hosts, and we have the full crew here today. We didn't have everyone for last week, but Jake is here with us to finally talk some Andor. And real quick, I just want to point out that I'm very upset, guys. I'm actually hurt, and I feel like I've been lied to because Twitter told me that there are no Easter eggs in this show. And
There's not, right?
There's not a single one.
There's no Easter eggs in this show.
I couldn't
I'm
see
watching
any.
this, and I'm like,
I don't even know why I'm watching it.
Yeah, come on, guys. There's no Vader or the Death Star or any. What's
Where
Darth
is
Vader
Vader?
doing, Andor?
When is Darth Vader going to show up? Because,
Where is he during?
Star-
where is he during Andor?
Star Wars Theory told me Vader was going to show up. When is he going to be here?
he's
Obi-Wan's
gone now.
supposed to
He's
be
gone
here
now.
too. Everybody told me before the show started that Obi-Wan was going to be in it.
Yep. So yes,
That was a thing.
the episode was called Aldhani because that is the beginning of our new story arc. It looks like we're getting like these 3-episode story arcs throughout this season, which I'm interested in. I really like the way they're telling the story with this show so far, the slow burn type of storytelling, but I think it leads to so much like greater story potential because we get to fit so much more. The episode was longer. We got introduced to a bunch of new characters. It didn't feel rushed or bloated at all, which I really appreciated. And it's not bothering me whatsoever that there's like not much action or like Star Wars-y like tropes in the show so far because I am just so compelled by these characters that it doesn't matter to me. And we got introduced to a couple of the major ones here. We finally got to see Mon Mothma, which I'm so happy about that. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Jake, real quick, because you weren't here last week, just give your quick, like super quick thoughts on the first 3 episodes because you didn't get to share them with the panel.
Yeah, I've watched each one 4 times now.
Okay.
The last 3 minutes of episode 3 is some of like my favorite Star Wars ever. Like that whole ending montage is
So
fucking insane. Oh my god, it's so good. It's just fucking great. It is so fucking good.
yeah, we definitely enjoyed it concerning the fact that we went almost 2.5 hours last week. But it was neat. We were like, yeah, we're gonna be fine. Jake's not here. It won't be that long.
Yeah,
And then
because
honestly,
I'm the tangent guy on this show.
Well,
Wait, this guy.
I'm amazed that we actually kept it under 3 hours, if I'm being honest.
well, we had 3 episodes to talk about, and these were longer
Yeah.
than like Obi-Wan or Mando episodes. So there was a lot here. Now starting off with Luthen, which I mean, we all talked about Bix last week and my love of Bix Kayleen and the mutual love here. But Luthen, if I'm being completely serious, and I do love Bix as a character, but Luthen after 4 episodes is already like one of my new favorite Star Wars characters.
He's
Stellan
so
Skarsgård
compelling.
is
Like,
so
acting
good.
his ass off. I love just everything about his character. The one scene where you just see him like turning himself into like
when he's all like,
the facade in the mirror. I loved it. Him putting on the wig and everything, and then just the bangles. I'm just like, okay, this is a great scene.
Yeah,
And-
it's like when Batman, I saw someone compare it to like Batman and Bruce Wayne, like how when he needs to play up to the public to distance like Bruce Wayne from Batman, he does the whole like foolish billionaire thing, and it's a similar thing with Luthen here.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what I said when I was watching today. It's like it felt like he is that collector guy, like that's who he is. But then his alter ego kind of became this rebellion guy. But then over time, he became the rebellion guy, and now his alter ego is the collector guy. And I
just
that's
love how he
cool.
had like the
Favorite
fancy
thing.
voice, and then as soon as they like get close enough back, like in the back with him
Yes.
and Mon Mothma, he just drops. He's like,
He just
all right,
switches
we're
back
on
to the gravelly tone.
Yeah.
My favorite bit about that whole like suiting up sequence is like when after he's just done with that, like the getting into character thing, he immediately just like does the normal Luthen walk that we have seen, and it's so immediate. It's just really cool because it just shows how he is wearing a mask.
My favorite is just Nicholas. Is it Bertel? His score.
Yeah. Nicholas Bertel. Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
So
it's really cool.
I'm not. It's like in terms of just like regular tracks. I'm not talking like main title themes. It's my favorite of the shows so far. It's so good.
Well, did you notice how
so many memorable themes already? Like I love the Kenobi main theme. I love the Mando main theme. But like in terms of like regular scores, I think Andor's already like near the top, if not at the top for me.
And did you notice too how like the intro, there's now like a second layer on top of the intro that we heard from the first 3 episodes?
Changes.
It's just going to keep building.
Each episode's been building, because that's what the show is. It's like it's a slow build. It's this slow burn.
It's so
where the
interesting
conflict
too.
It's getting bigger and bigger. Like
it really is like your like classic noir. Like every single thing that you've seen gets built on top of the thing before it. Like everything has an impact on everything later. And like, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and bitch and complain about previous Star Wars shows, but like, I feel like this is the first time that like we're really just seeing like everything has an impact, no matter how small you might think it is.
It just feels different watching it. Like I've enjoyed everything, but it's
so much more like real and natural, like just much more fluent. Like I'm so much more easily convinced that I'm watching an actual event take place, rather than like a story that people wrote at their little desk and then shot at their silly little stagecraft and then edited into their silly little California studio. Like this is like a real otherworldly place. That this isn't a show. This
feels
is
like Star Wars like reached its full potential of what a live action show could be, and whether that's the longer format or the fact that it is shot on location and has these real sets, it just feels like event TV. Like it, and I'm not saying the other ones weren't, but like this feels.
Just on a technical level.
On a technical level.
It's so much beyond anything.
It's probably the most technically efficient. Yeah, I mean, and it gets such good use of its location shooting as well. Like the whole section they very clearly shot in the Scottish Highlands is amazing. They use that location so well. Like all the sweeping camera shots going across the mountains and the rocky terrain. It's just really cool. And there's even a scene that kind of reminded me of the Fellowship of the Ring, which I'll get into.
Oh, I think I know what scene you're talking about.
I think I do too.
I got Octo vibes from one of the scenes on the mountain too, just the way it looked and everything.
Well, especially because like these are familiar places to us. Obviously, they're shot on Earth locations, obviously, and like I'm still easily convinced that it's not Earth. Whereas, like, I don't know, in Force Awakens, Dakar, like to me, it's like, oh, that's somewhere in the fucking United Kingdom. I don't know where, but I'm sure it is. It's like, but like now there's like these places. It's like it feels so real.
Yeah, I'm gonna like quickly shout out. I love Dakar's the Rebellion base, right?
The Resistance base.
I love that location purely because of like where they chose the location, because it's a former air base and it was basically like the site of a very, very famous in the UK protest by a group of women against like against the housing of nuclear weapons there, and it was like this really big story. And I love that clearly factored into their decision to like film there and make it like this bedrock of resistance for like all the characters. I just thought that was really cool. But yeah, back to Andor.
I do like that. I mean, when we get to like the meat of the episode on Coruscant, we can talk about it more. But just seeing it again in all its glory, like we got the tease.
Dude, it hasn't hit me yet for some reason.
But getting to see like Coruscant when the title card hit, and then getting to see all the buildings and everything, I was losing my mind.
I feel like this is the most intimate view we've gotten at Coruscant too. Like, other than like Clone Wars, but like, you know, that's animation. So like this obviously just hits, not to downplay the importance of animation, but like we're used to it. We've seen it a lot in animation. So like the first time to really see like the underbelly of like Coruscant when what's his face?
Cyril.
Cyril Karn just like go to visit his mom.
Going to his mommy's place.
Sad little Cyril.
And the way he's like gotta like put his little coat sleeve like over so he can press the buttons like this because he doesn't want to like get germs. It's like, oh my god, you're such a loser.
Like, I hate him. I hate him.
He has the best face of like, he has the best face Cyril, because like when he's like getting told off by the ISB officer, he just looks like this. Like Cyril is absolutely the kid that nags his mom and says, "Mom, it's my turn on the Xbox," and then the mom just takes the Xbox away and the other kids beat him for it.
Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox.
You guys remember when everyone said that Tom Holland looks like he's trying to hold a frog in his mouth?
Yes.
That's what I think that Cyril Karn looks like.
Yeah, like he's always open his mouth and yeah, like a creature's just gonna like crawl out like.
Yeah. Was it in our group chat that I said that like he just looks like an AI generated person? Like he doesn't look like a real human being to me.
Maybe.
But then I see the actor in real life, and he's got like that beard, and I'm like, ooh. Yeah. But like in the show, it's like
the way he just looks so like
rigid,
fascist.
Yeah, like. He's so fascist. It's the restraint, isn't it? It's the restraint there.
It is the restraint.
Where he's very rigid. Like the fact that he had his outfit tailored in the first episode, I thought was like really hilarious, and it also kind of shows what kind of person he is and how he's almost better suited for the Empire, which is like it's very interesting now that the Empire is getting involved, and he's clearly going to have more of a role going forward. I loved when the ISB officer basically came and confirmed his superior's worst fears. How the ISB comes in and literally gets in his face and goes, was it worth it? Because now this whole planet is permanently under Imperial authority. So literally the Empire has gotten involved now because he messed up so badly.
I love how I keep forgetting his name. The Scottish guy, he just goes.
He's the Scottish guy the whole
Linus
first episode.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
Yeah,
it might just be me. But on my rewatch, which I still haven't completed yet, I think I have like 10 minutes left. But like all the ISB stuff reminded me very much of Rebels for some reason. I don't know if that was just me.
I think that's probably
getting to actually see like the ISB
all white, the interplay between the corporate forces and the ISB guys, like all of that. I'm like, this kind of reminds me of Rebels a lot.
Also, we finally got to see live action ISB agents. I know that they were through the window in the background. But like obviously we're going to see more of them. They wouldn't have made a costume just for that one scene. So
their
that's
costumes
really
are so fucking good, dude.
Oh, they're so sick.
They look really cool.
The costume design in this show too is just like it's fucking peak.
And we got introduced to Dedra Meero, who I'm assuming her and Cyril will be like the two main villains of the season, and I'm already really intrigued by her character.
I'm
very fascinated.
Yeah, I feel like she's gonna seek him out. To be honest with you,
probably.
He's on Coruscant. He was part of the debacle on Ferrix, and she obviously wants to figure out more of that because of the box. And it's like, I could see him kind of using her to get into the Empire and to get his way into the ISB. And her kind of using him to like fish for information. Like Conor said, they're very much like everything feels so infighting with the Empire here, which is fucking perfect.
They're like trying to sabotage each other continuously.
Right.
And she kind of gets like punished for trying to progress and do her own thing and trying to show initiative. They're like, no. Like they have that one meeting where old Imperial guy whose name I don't remember. Where she like says the correct like, you're right, but no. I'm like
Major Partagaz, Partagaz. He's played by Anton Lesser, who was in Game of Thrones. He was
another oh my god.
He's Maester Qyburn. He was the one who he's the one who after succeeds Pycelle and does a lot of like necromancy and stuff on Sir Gregor and like serves Cersei. So like he's a really good pick for me for an Imperial officer, especially like an ISB person. He has very much Tarkin vibes. And I almost wonder if at like some point in the script there was a use of Tarkin, and then they decided, let's use someone else here because this is more interesting. And I love the way that he has that like whole thing where after Dedra like gives him the like rundown of what the ISB does, he's like, yes, that is verbatim the ISB mission statement and wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he basically
says, a name for the Imperial or ISB guy that Dedra's kind of clashing with.
Yeah, the
Blevin.
I don't know what it is though.
Yeah, it's Blevin.
It is Blevin, yes.
His
He's
accent
the one who goes to
works for me.
Morlana.
It's very, very powerful. I like it a lot.
I'm just really intrigued by Dedra's character. Like, this is just my read on her. Like, I feel like there's a lot of she has this like commanding presence, but it just really hasn't been like shown quite yet. But it's like being like slowly built up, like a bunch of Lincoln logs being made into a house. Like it's sort of just like slowly building into this foundation of command. And she wants to show it and really show her authority. But it's like at every turn, it's like, nah. But it's like, I just feel like once we get to that point, she's going to be a really, really commanding presence.
She's going to start picking these guys off, and eventually she's going to be the one at the top. And I am, like you said, I'm very interested in seeing her and Karn work together or clash, or maybe get in each other's way of trying to get to Cassian. Because we both know that, like, Dedra's description before the show started was like, she's an officer that really doesn't like Cassian. And then we know Cyril doesn't like that guy because he kind of ruined his gig, and now the Empire is up in Ferrix and everything. And that's when we were like, okay, so the Empire is going to take control, and it definitely did. And I am just really intrigued. Also, I love it when they were getting, like, yelled at by the Imperial, like the captain at the just in the middle was like, I had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
And he's like, of course you did. Of course you didn't.
Also, like, probably thinking, like, you could have just written that accident report and we'd be fine. None of this wouldn't have happened, but you had to go and hunt this man out.
Yep. Also, I know you're probably not watching Denis Gao, the actress who plays Dedra Meero, but like, if you are somehow, come on to FTR. We would all love to have a conversation with you about your character and just Star Wars and maybe other topics. So, the
one of these days, Connor's going to be like, George Lucas, if you're watching, come on the podcast. It would be fun.
We're saving that for the droid arc of Clone Wars.
D-Squad.
Yeah,
D-Squad. Yeah,
it's like,
George, come on the podcast and talk with us about like Neba Gascon.
I thought it'd be funny if he was a little guy. And it's like, all right, thanks, George.
A guy that right down a droid.
Yeah. I thought it would be super battle droids.
Neba Gascon.
The thing I was going to say about like Dedra is that like the thing I like the most about Dedra is that she's very intelligent. She's clearly very intelligent. There's kind of a chilling intelligence to her. And you absolutely get why she doesn't like Cassian, because she is getting blocked at every turn by a lot of the ISB officers, because we're seeing that exact kind of arrogance that Cassian described to Luthen when he said, they're so proud of themselves. They don't really care. They're too busy infighting and like reveling in their stature to like actually notice there is this threat to you slowly building in the background. And Dedra's one of the few people who recognizes that. And that actually makes, it's kind of the thing I say about Thrawn, where Thrawn is intimidating because he's competent, because we're so used to seeing Imperial officers who are arrogant and who are fail at their job and let the side down for the Empire because they're incompetent and they mess up constantly. But Thrawn doesn't. Thrawn is very clever, and the same happens with Dedra, where she doesn't really mess up. She often is like, she's very intelligent, but she just keeps getting blocked by more arrogant men. And there's kind of a theme here I'm noticing, which is really cool, of like insecure men feeling threatened by powerful and confident women.
I have maybe my new least favorite Star Wars character that we can talk about later.
I know exactly who you mean.
Dude,
I was like,
it's like Andor's introducing us to a new dickish character of the week. Last week it was Tim. This week it's Perrin.
Fuck Perrin.
Fuck Perrin.
Worst Star Wars husband ever. Worst Star Wars.
How the fuck are you married to Mon Mothma and you're still gonna be a prick? Like, that's Mon fucking Mothma, bro.
Why must everything be so boring? It's like, God.
Shut your whitey ass up. Go back to kindergarten. Like, wow. Jesus.
It's
no.
I think someone on Twitter put
the leader of the Mon Mothma enthusiasts too.
Mon Mothma Sims rise up.
Shit. Yep.
But no, someone said like, oh yeah, this dude reminds me. This guy gives off both sides type energy, and I'm like, he fucking does.
He really does.
He
Yeah,
also low key
if
kind of feels like a metaphor for like the fans. It's like, you know how fans like I know that there's fans that are like, oh, there's no action in Andor. It's so boring, and it's like, oh, it's just that fucking guy.
It almost kind of feels like Tony Gilroy, Dan Gilroy are like just like writing this guy and going, this is you.
Yeah,
See how
it's
you
kind
look?
of brilliant how they've written her so like she feels so boxed in. Like she mentioned to Luthen how she feels like everyone's watching her at every corner. She's always getting new drivers.
Fascinating.
And then her husband
The driver thing is crazy.
Playing coy with all these and playing buddy with all these Imperials that are against her in the Senate. It's like so literally everyone is like going at her and it's crazy.
He really is like a both sides kind of guy, though, because like you said, like he wants her to be friends with the fascists and work together with the fascists. So it's like in the like modern day American politics. It's like, why can't the Republicans and Democrats just get it wrong? Especially when you think about how Tony Gilroy, I think, or was it Dan? I don't remember. But one of the two said that the way Mon Mothma is written in the show is inspired by Nancy Pelosi, who's Nancy Pelosi. And
that's
so
what I liked Mon
that's
Mothma.
so interesting.
Yeah, but no, again, it's like you have the middle people that want the like Democrats to play along with the American fascists, but then the Democrats are in power and aren't doing fucking shit because they're too afraid to. And it's like, not to get all fucking political on here at For the Republic, but
there's no politics in Star Wars, Jake. It's like there's no Easter eggs in the show.
There's no
Easter eggs.
There's no politics.
Politics.
They're never they're not in Andor. Politics and Easter eggs. They're just completely far away.
Yep, that's it.
Detached.
None of that in Star Wars. But like, this show is just so like consciously aware of like real world events. That's why I keep saying, like, for me, this show, the way it makes me feel is how I imagine how people felt in 77 watching A New Hope for the first time. Because like, not only is it this completely alien world that is like nothing we've ever seen before, but it's 100% inspired by like our real world life. And like the two things are flawlessly intertwined.
100% inspired by a lot of the stuff that we unfortunately have to see in the news every single day.
Every fucking day.
Police.
There's a lot, there's a lot of contemporary politics bound up in Andor.
They're not being subtle with what they're trying to say.
But Star Wars isn't. Star Wars isn't subtle. Yeah, Star Wars isn't. Well, subtle.
That's why we have those fucking idiots on Twitter trying to say that Karn is the good guy. And it's like, oh, I know you got some fucking Blue Lives Matter sticker on your
like I
fucking
get
19 fucking 75 F-150 piece of shit diesel pumping bullshit truck. Like,
someone pointed out, and I agree with it. It's like, yes, they're writing Andor's character that he is got some shady stuff to him, and he's not 100% like the good guy. And they're writing some stuff with Karn's character to where he like, you can be sympathetic towards him in a way, but it's very clear that one is the hero and one is the villain. There's no debating that. Like, yes, there's debate on, is the rebellion all squeaky clean like some stuff pictured it as? But no, like, this is very clearly guy just very clearly engulfed in the imperialist doctrine, and then here's another guy that is just fending for himself and
he's
eventually
still trying to figure out if he's fighting for a cause or fighting for himself.
Right. Again, it's just so fucking real because the show, they've said countless times, is about Cassian picking a side. And like, we see that now he's doing that. And then we see how like people like Karn, who maybe started with some kind of good intentions, misplaced those good intentions, then became corrupt by the shit show that they got themselves stuck in. Like, it's just so aware of like the world that we live in today and like how like similar people can fall very, very, very different ways. One can,
we're gonna see
fight for freedom and human rights, and one can become a fucking fascist Nazi piece of shit.
I think because the main distinction, Karn, we're gonna see. Sorry to interrupt you, Don, but we're gonna see like how Conor said, Dedra's gonna slowly get up in the ranks and get more of that authority. Karn, I think, is gonna more and more like unravel and just completely lose his mind. But as a result, I think that's also gonna make him more powerful. And also get him maybe more in a bigger position with the Empire. And I'm just intrigued in the two ways they're telling these villain stories. And they're making, I mean, I think
how
Cyril's I think Cyril's a sniveling piece of shit, and I don't like feel the meow meow way that some people do about him. But I mean, I'm intrigued by his character at least.
There's like
but whatever you were
I
gonna
actually
say,
think
Don.
he could wind up being a actually kind of a scary Star Wars villain, because like a fascist who's like completely unbalanced mentally is like someone who's very unpredictable and therefore dangerous. But like the main thing I was going to say about Cyril and Cassian that's an interesting comparison is like I watched Star Wars Explains review of like the first 3 episodes, and he made an interesting point about Cassian, that Cassian has never had a say in a lot of the big decisions of his life. He was taken away from Canary against his will. You know, like Marva did that like without him having a say in it, and then he's sort of the same thing sort of happens with Luthen. Yeah, so he's sort of drafted into this fight when he didn't really want to be a part of it, and now he is kind of like so I joked about this when I watched it, but it is kind of amusing that Diego Luna is for the majority of this episode sort of sulking through this mission, like I don't really want to be here, but like I can't leave.
Yeah, and you have all the other rebels just like, why is he here, and not fully trusting him,
right?
Because
whereas
of the way
Cyril,
that they were told about the mission.
Yeah, whereas Cyril does actually have like some degree of power. Like he's frustrated because he perceives that he doesn't have any control over things, and yet when he does make a decision, like he screws up massively, and like, you know, just trying to exercise just that little bit of power he has leads to catastrophe for him. It's just an interesting comparison.
That's really interesting for Cassian too, because I kind of get the feeling that's how this entire show is going to go, because we even see that in Rogue One still happening up until the end when he decides, all right, they said no, but we're going to Scarif.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean,
That's
obviously
true.
we know how that ends.
Scarif got a name drop, by the way. No Easter eggs.
It did.
None.
That was cool.
It did.
No Easter egg. Can we talk about the fucking Easter eggs in Luthen?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we should transition into Cassian's role in this episode. But in that combo between him and Luthen, I literally lost my mind within the first 2 minutes, because he mentions Mimba, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Cassian and Han were
Valance
and Valance. Hashtag Valance Nation.
Fuck.
Were in
That's
the
nuts.
war at the same time. Tony Gilroy said, Solo, a Star Wars story, writes.
But
So-
no Easter eggs.
But none. Remember, guys, there's none. This is all new stuff.
Zero.
There's zero. I can't watch Andor because it doesn't interest me. There's no Easter eggs.
Armor that we see twice that inspires Starkiller's armor, that's not an Easter egg.
I
The
can't,
world
okay,
is
can I just
completely
say,
new.
I gasped
Sculpture?
when I saw that armor. That was incredible. Like, that's probably my favorite Easter egg in the whole episode.
I
I'm
paused
just
it
waiting
and I
for
just stared
someone
at
to
it
do
like 20 seconds.
like a breakdown of every single thing that showed up in Luthen's like
Oh,
art
dude,
gallery.
Star Wars Explained is probably going to do it.
Yeah,
He probably has a
so-
video already.
Well, we got to
waiting for
see
it.
like the hand gestures from the mural from Rebels of the father, the son, and the daughter.
That's so cool.
But again, no
There's
Easter
that
eggs.
Mando armor. Yeah, no Easter eggs at
Yep.
all.
The
I'm
Utapau
sure
and
there's
Monk,
more.
Cudgel.
Indy's whip. Indiana Jones's
In
whip is in
carbonite.
fucking carbonite. But there's
That's
no
hilarious.
Easter eggs.
None.
That's hilarious.
What's the one?
Fuck
There
you,
was
Grace
the one
Randolph.
there was the one reference to, I'm pretty sure it was a reference to Rogue One, but like I think it was one of the rebels, I think it was Lieutenant Gorn, said something about how there's an Imperial scientist arriving from Coruscant, and like my dumbass was thinking, oh, I wonder who could that be, and then just like my brain just did not connect. Like, oh wait,
Well,
it's
they also
probably
mentioned
Galen.
about like the
Yeah.
mass amount of material shipments going to Scarif.
Yep, from
So it's
Scarif.
like,
I was like,
the,
oh,
the
fuck.
Kyber crystal necklace. First of all, it's beautiful.
That's
It
cool.
so
looks
yes,
beautiful.
but they mentioned the Rakatan Empire from
Yep.
Dawn of the Jedi and Old Republic, and like, so did he say was because he also said was it like Sky Stone or something
Sky
like that?
Stone.
He said
'Cause
Sky
in
Stone
Dawn of the
Kyber.
Jedi, yeah, it's like that's a different kind of kyber. I think that's the kind of kyber that originally powered the Force sabers from
Ooh.
Dawn of the Jedi, like the predecessor, or not predecessor to lightsabers with kyber crystals. So like, they're
That's
so,
good.
like literally they're
I still
pulling
need
from,
to read Dawn of the Jedi, but everything I've read about it so far is just like,
Oh,
I
my
do have to
God.
read it too.
So good. I thought you started it, Don. I thought you said you started it.
I have literally got sidetracked with so many stuff. Like I've literally put it on hold again so I can finish High Republic Phase 1, finally get out of the Shadows Red.
Yeah, no,
I
have
need
to
to-
finish
all
Phase 1.
good Star Wars.
I need to
I
finish
gotta-
my reread.
Speaking of, we got like a week until
Phase
High
2.
Republic.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Shit.
guys read Path of Deceit before I do, I might have to have you guys handle the episode on that one because I haven't gotten
copy
the Fallen
comes
Star
on
yet.
Tuesday.
I
So-
You don't
need
have
to
Fallen
order
Star?
that.
Not there yet. I
Oh,
should probably, because I was reading Padawan, I should probably pause that and just read Fallen Star as quick as I can.
I'm like
just so I
300
have that
pages
done.
into Shadow of the Sith, and Austin was kind of bullying me for
Fallen
Probably
Star is
do
a
not
quick
finish
read.
that.
At least I thought so.
Same.
I
Well,
listened to
breezed
the
through
audiobook
that.
in like 2
what's
days,
Rising
and then
Storm
reread
was a
it.
quick read for me too.
Mm-hmm.
But like Out of the Shadows took a bit.
Into the
and
Dark, I
then
finished in 2 days.
Crash Point I finished in
Oh,
maybe 3 hours combined.
Yeah,
But
all those like young, like what do they call like the
The
not children's books,
middle
what are they
grade.
called? Middle grade, yeah.
Yeah.
All of those I've been able to finish in like one sitting.
Test
Yeah,
of
no,
Courage
those are
took me a
easy to
bit
make.
but I did that. That's the only one I've done Audible with. So that took me like however long that was, and just having to be, because I found with myself like audiobooks, I need to have a certain level of attention span for them, and I realized
Yeah.
that I don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't. I need to have the book in front of me, or else I'm just gonna get lost. That's another reason why I like audio dramas and like those type of narrative podcasts. I've never been able to get into them because I just feel like I'm gonna like zone out for like 2 minutes. And
It's
then be
the whole
completely
everything
lost.
goes in one ear and out the other kind of thing.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I mean,
no, I
there's
completely
that.
get that.
I want to get into them. It's just I've always struggled with that. Hashtag mental disabilities. But Cassian's story, or should I say Clem's story?
Clem, yeah.
Clem.
Such a great little touch to have.
Yeah,
him,
that
like,
was
pick
so
his,
nice.
his adopted
It's like-
father's name.
It's like the fact that he was kind of clean shaven in a lot of those clips. Does that mean there was going to be a flashback? But now it looks like that's kind of been like
It's like, of course, like
squandered.
he just shaved.
So
like,
he
of
just
course.
shaved. All right, it's like, how are you gonna disguise yourself? I'll get
I
rid
love
of
that
the beard.
Luthen just drops him on a planet, and then he's just like, "All right, peace."
Yeah,
I
he's
was
like, I need
confused
good fighters.
yeah.
Come with me. And then he's like, all right, go hang out with my friends. Goodbye.
Because like Saw Gerrera got a name drop, but I must have read the
Mhm.
scene wrong. Because like when what's his name, Lieutenant Gorn showed up, because what's his name, Vel said that there was 7 of them. I'm like, I'm counting 6, so is the 7th going to be
Yeah.
Saw, and then it was Gorn. So I'm guessing we're going to get Saw Gerrera. Probably my guess is at the end of this arc, he's going to show up.
I would say
Uh,
either that or like he might be a main player for the next.
The
arc.
next one, because I was like, are these partisans? Because they seemed a bit more like ragtag than even the rebel stuff that we've seen at this point.
Yeah.
Beforehand. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Which I
this might
really
be-
find fascinating.
I do find it
Yeah,
fascinating.
because this
Because
is the
again,
same year
this
as
is
Rebels
set.
Season 1.
yeah.
Yeah, this is set during Rebels, so
Yeah. Let's talk about Vel real quick.
it's not going to happen. It's probably never going to happen. But like, swear to God, Harrison Dula, I would die.
Same.
I would
Well,
just
I mean,
die laughing.
She's in Ahsoka, so you never know.
But
I
again,
would just
yeah,
die
those
laughing
threads-
of like you see in the background of like one of the missions, like Cassian is like trying to invade the Imperials, and then you just see Zeb and Chopper like running in the background of one of the shots,
That
and
would be
that's it.
hilarious.
You know who
so this
else
is an
I-
interesting thing I heard. So that's conversation that Luthen and Mon Mothma have in his shop secretly. She mentions she has an agent, and I was like, huh. I wonder who that is, because like, you know, that clearly it means that there's someone else is going to come into play working for Mon Mothma or with Mon Mothma.
I remember
and I was
some
like-
people thinking it was Saw.
I think
Yeah.
it is
Oh.
Saw.
Very
Because this is
interesting.
before they sort of
Clash.
parted ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
because they
was-
have
is
that
this
Gonna
clash.
be
before-
very interesting to see how that
Is
plays
this
out.
before Rebel Rising, where he does the
Let me
thing?
check. That's a good question, actually.
'Cause I
Maybe
know
at the
Saw-
same time.
Saw abandons Jin, if I remember correctly, around this time in the timeline, but I don't remember when the thing he does happens in the timeline. But I'm actually, I mean, I would love a Rebels connection, but the two I want the most are Bail Organa and Memphis Nest. Like, if
I
we
feel
can
like
get-
we've got to have at least one appearance
I mean-
from Bale in the
I feel like
Imperial Senate.
Vale
That
is
would
a
be cool.
guarantee.
I
I
think
really
Enfys
hope we
might
get
actually
something
be.
of like the delegation of 3,000 or something.
That would be awesome.
That would
but
be an
I think
awesome
Enfys is a
name drop.
possibility because Aaron Kellyman was at the premiere. So
I think that was. I want to say that was because of Willow.
I mean,
Yeah.
But I don't
Willow. But
Probably, but I mean, she's so in with Lucasfilm. Like they obviously
and there's
really
been
love her.
a
and,
lot of solo references in the show. So
Mhm. And
more than I was expecting.
I can't
When
think of
Vel was
anybody
coming down,
that
I
doesn't
thought
really
that was
want her
Empress
back.
Nest for a minute.
That would
I
be
totally
really
thought
cool.
that was her. Yeah.
Well, I was confused because I thought they said Val at first. I'm like, we have two characters with the same name in Star Wars, but no, change the one letter. It's good. But let's talk about Vel real quick.
She's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I like her.
She's cool. She's played by the waif from Game of Thrones. So
another installment of cool ponchos in Star Wars. I gotta appreciate that. Which Cassian just took immediately. Like she's wearing it,
like,
and then he's
this
wearing
is
it.
mine
Cassian's
now.
part
Like,
of the Star
this
Wars
is my
poncho crew.
But
That
yeah,
would be
We
proud.
also have our second Star Wars sweatshirt that Cassian was wearing at the end of the episode, which I think is fucking cool.
can I eat my food? I love that.
Yeah, no,
line
literally,
so
just
much.
let him eat in peace.
But yeah, Jake, you missed there were two running gags last episode. The first was the Easter egg one. The second was every actor in the show having like a guest spot on like Doctor Who or Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But then we have Skeen, who is Richie from The Bear.
Oh,
I haven't watched that yet.
I haven't
It's
watched the Bear.
so
either.
good.
I work in food service. I don't want to fucking watch a show about working in food service.
Oh my god.
It's really
It's
good.
hell. It's fucking hell.
I
Don't
know,
ever
and
work
they
in
get
food
to that.
service.
They get to that really.
I know,
well,
but I
too.
experience it in real life every day, Connor.
You should
Yeah, but
watch it.
We meet these rebels. We have all right. Help me out here, guys. So we
I
got
wrote them
Vale,
down. I wrote them
we got
down.
Cinta,
I
we got
trivia
Gore.
watched this shit. Let's see who do we
I'm
got?
pulling up Wikipedia now. There's
Okay, no,
I mean,
Vel,
I'm so
Thank
glad
God.
that they're like far away from
Tamarin,
stuff.
Skeen, Cinta, Gorn, and Nemec.
Nemec. I like.
I
That's a
like
Star-
Nemec. That
That's
guy's
a
cool.
Star Wars name.
Is he
right there.
anemic?
Probably.
I love that they. I love their plan as well.
I
Like I love the way they.
said that.
Oh my
Oy
goodness.
vey.
But yeah, no, Nemec.
Yeah, no, the
love-
plan is
I like
fucking
it.
sick. Like, use
Yeah.
the what do they call it?
Use
With the
this
sky.
like wall, yeah, because they describe
Yeah.
that ancient kind of like.
Dude, I
ritual
love
that
the little
they're-
structure that they built.
Yes,
I know.
That's so cool.
What is his name? The cute little guy that fell asleep on the rock.
Nemec.
yeah, that's Nemec.
Oh, he's named. Okay, I love him. He's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, like
When he's all like, "Welcome to the team, Cassian." It's like, and everyone else
Yeah.
is just being a dick.
'cause, like this is the interesting thing about this episode. Like with Dandari, I love the way that they put loads of world building in there. We never see the local people, and we've only like got the barren country. We've only got the countryside and like a couple of TIE fighters to like insinuate anything other than Cassian and these rebels. But like the world feels like it has a history and a culture because of all the stuff we learn about like the people there, and it's really interesting that the Empire drove these people away because it adds to the my favorite thing like about fleshing out the Star Wars universe is that the Empire really feels like this force that came in and just like disrupted all of these ancient peoples like the Mandalorians, the Jedi, and all these other ancient peoples, and just like either tried to eliminate them or drove them into hiding through their own like selfish desire to just basically have everything. And I like that the plan is
unbelievable.
The world building is fantastic.
So seamless. Like they're not shoving it in your face too. It's like, oh, here's this thing. Look at this thing. This tells you something. It's like they're just people talking about shit, and like just their generic conversations are enough to inform you, like with everything that you need to know. It's so it's just so smooth and like effortless. Like again, it just makes it all feel so much more lived in and real.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's really cool. It really feels like the world building is like second to none here, and it's all. I love the way it's like you said, so very, so very naturally incorporated. Yeah, organically incorporated into the dialogue, and I love that their plan is going to involve using this part of the culture that like the Empire isn't going to know about, because of course it doesn't. The Empire doesn't care about like the little people and their like traditions and like the things that they hold dear, and that's why they lose. You know, and this is kind of the theme we're building through.
The way they described that meteor shower festival or whatever it was, I was like, I just love the little stuff like that. Just
I'm pretty sure we've seen it in the trailer.
Yeah,
it's gonna be pretty spectacular.
Everything falling through the sky.
Getting to know like the culture of like this planet that we've literally just been introduced for the first time, and I'm like, no, I'm so hooked in. It's just the little stuff like that I just really love about this universe. And I just love this stuff like that, and getting to immediately connect with this new group of characters, see how they react with Cassian, kind of just briefing them on everything. So far, I would say my favorites either Cinta or Gorn, but Vel is the best. Obviously, I'm not including her.
Yeah, well, with Gorn, we have another Imperial defector, which is
no, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that they're like they have a man on the inside.
Yeah,
and
can we talk about the TIE fighters very quickly? Because
that first one scared the shit out of me.
That scene.
I did not know. I didn't notice because I thought Cassian just heard them. Because like he did, but like also when he like paused and he's like, "We gotta, get to cover or whatever."
Yeah,
you can see them like just barely coming in the background. I think on like the left.
Yeah, it's like
the back
way
left
by
side
like
of the frame.
Edge of the frame, and like the way they dip in and then you don't hear them, and then they blast over the horizon like loud as shit. That sound design is just brilliant.
Exactly. It's probably the scariest I think a TIE fighter has seemed in like Star Wars in recent times, and it's also like I said earlier about like Fellowship of the Ring. It reminds me so much of like the scene where like the Fellowship has to like hide from the crows, the Krebine from Dunland, I think they're called.
Yeah,
like they all swoop over the camp and stuff. That reminded me so much of that. It was really cool, and it really makes the Empire. Yeah, it's Saruman. Yeah, it's like it feels very. It makes the Empire feel very like if you feel the Empire's presence there. Exactly, fearful. Exactly, the Empire feel very.
It's two TIE fighters like in the middle of nowhere, and we're fucking petrified of them. Like,
yeah, because we're like, oh shit, this is serious.
They always do a good job at whenever like something on the Imperial end is getting dangerously close to like becoming a joke. They have one or two scenes in something that just completely like go, oh wait, no, this can be really scary and really intimidating with the right tone and everything, and
we haven't even seen a stormtrooper yet.
No, we haven't. Which
that's crazy.
We haven't had a stormtrooper. We haven't seen that one scene in the trailers with the clones yet. Nothing. Which I am very intrigued to when we find. And
that's going to have to be in more flashbacks, like when they get back to Ferrix.
Probably, yeah, because like a lot of the hallmarks of both the Rebels and the Empire we have not seen yet. And we're finally getting into kind of like the meat and potatoes of that realm of the story here with Mon Mothma being introduced and getting to see more of Luthen's character. I'm so intrigued in it. But I do like how like our story is being told through both Cassian and then Dedra and Cyril. So we get new faces on the Imperial side, which I really enjoy because there hasn't even been a mention yet of Palpatine, Tarkin, any of the big hierarchs yet. Krennic, Thrawn,
Krennic,
Yularen. Krennic doesn't appear. To be honest,
Krennic would make sense. I would love to see Yularen. It would make sense because this whole show seems very ISB
I think Krennic
heavy.
and Yularen would make sense in like maybe season 2.
Yeah,
I think Krennic showing up closer to Rogue One would make sense. But we do know that Dedra has Death Troopers at one point because of one of the trailers.
Yeah.
Oh, so I just bought a Death Series Black Series figure the other day, so I'm just prepping for their appearance. I love me some Death Troopers.
I'm still interested.
The Death Trooper Bandai model kits are peak.
I bought that Razor Crest one. I've never bought one of those before, so
they're so much fun, and like the sculpts on those because they're all individually printed parts are like perfect. Like if you want troopers, just get the model kits because then you can like paint them up yourself. It's
I didn't know if it was going to be like cheap or not because it was only like $13 for the Razor Crest, but like
Usually, I think the model kit for like the characters are like 25, 30,
The Mando
which
one was
is
like
more
30.
than Black Series. Yeah, because it has the chrome on it though too. Like the troopers are usually a little bit cheaper, but like you get like a shit ton more weapons. You get alternate hands. You get interchangeable gear pieces. Like any of you collectible nerds out there, don't buy Black Series troopers other than clones, because believe it or not, the clones are actually better than the model kit ones. Any Imperial troopers,
I can attest to that.
I want that holiday clone trooper that they just announced. Like that's
the gingerbread one.
Yeah, because it's got the. Which one has the bogling? Is it the clone? Well, one of them has a holiday bogling.
Yeah,
don't
it
remember
has
off
like
the
a
top of my
Halloween
head.
look.
I gotta pull.
Oh, the
up
Halloween look! I'm getting like 4 of each of those. The
I haven't
Wookiee
gotten
and the Trooper.
the-
Those are so cool.
Is it the Were-Wookiee?
Yeah,
Is
the
that-
Were-Wookiee and the Skeletrooper.
Oh no, it was the. I have the tweet right now. It's the Mando Warrior has holiday bogling, and then First Order Stormtrooper has.
I have the
don't know what
Holiday
that is.
Porg.
Holiday is
2
that a
years
holiday
ago.
mouse droid? The clone has holiday. I don't know what that is. Protocol droid is holiday BD droid, and
Well, that's
then
cool.
Scout Trooper has holiday Grogu, and Wookiee has holiday Porg.
Nice.
So
You have to get the Wookiee then. That's just
Yeah.
the perfect duo.
Holiday
Is a Wookiee
Porg.
and a Porg.
yeah, I don't know what that other is. That BD droid? I don't know what that. I mean, BB droid. I don't know what that is. But okay, so now that our action figure tangent has commenced. Speaking of, okay, it's gonna continue for one more second, then I'm done. The one thing that I miss that we had with Obi-Wan was we had the weekly merch announcements. Where are
What's up with
they?
that? What's up
Well,
with that?
I need
Okay,
my big
if you're a
Lee Black
loser
Series.
like me and you look at the SKU numbers that Hasbro releases, we know that there's already 4 announced Andor figures, and it looks like there could be anywhere from 8 to 12 more figures coming eventually. So we will get them. But it's
Speaking of
Hasbro, so who fucking knows when?
Lucasfilm, why are you slacking? Where's my little Leia? It hasn't been announced
No,
yet.
literally.
Where is it?
We already have Omega, and the Omega figure is fucking awesome. Like, hold on.
Yeah, I have one.
This figure?
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's
Okay, that
such a
actually
good
looks
figure.
pretty good.
It is
Yeah, I
so
like it.
good.
And it comes with their
It's
bow
like
and
the only
everything.
Bad Batch figure that they didn't whitewash in the action figures.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, the tech one is horrifying.
Oh my god, I have the tech one. I do
It's
not
a good
like
thing
that.
that they have helmets.
I just have
that.
crosshair for the batch, but yeah, that and Omega. But oh boy. But yeah, no, I just everything that this episode was setting up, I just loved. And I want to focus more when we get to Coruscant on that scene with Mon Mothma and Luthen in the art gallery, and just the way that the tone shifted. And like I said, the Mon Mothma's feeling of always being watched. Luthen's just immediate switch from his like public persona to right back into the rebel Luthen. I loved. Shout out to okay, Connor, you got to help me out here. What is the name of Luthen's assistant?
Keela.
Keela?
I think it's
Yeah.
I think it might be
It's either Keela or like
Clea or
Clea?
I want to say
I thought it was Clea because it sounded like
Clea?
Clea.
I knew. Okay, I
It's
knew.
Clea
I was like
Markey.
one.
Clea Markey.
Okay, cool.
All right,
I was like one letter. I probably
1
skipped.
second, guys. All right, so real quick here. I'm now hashtag Clea enthusiast. That's my girl right there. Instantly, I was like, yeah, she's neat.
She's
I
such
like
a
her.
homie, but I'm a
I like
little afraid that she's gonna betray.
Is she gonna? Because
That's what I'm kind of thinking too, Jake.
She's
Really?
in on
I didn't get those
Luthen's
vibes.
thing because when the driver, because when we learned more about the driver,
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, new
he's
driver."
like, oh, look at this stuff. It's like I don't have the money. It's like, all right, well, look at these coins. And he's
Yeah,
like, I like
Exactly.
coins.
She's very quick on the ball to help
she
Luthen
seems
out.
to be in on it. And I wasn't thinking that, but now I'm thinking, is she gonna rat Luthen out to the Empire?
She's absolutely in on it now, but I
now?
feel like Luthen, they're gonna pick up on his and then gonna go to her first because I'm sure it'd be easier to get information out of her than it would be Luthen.
And try to interrogate her or something.
So I
Please,
don't
no.
think that she's just gonna fold to the Empire. I feel like the Empire is gonna try to use her.
What I am worried about is that Tony Gilroy in an interview this week said, hey, don't get attached to many of these characters because the death count this season is pretty high. And I'm like, Tony, this is hard because I'm already getting attached to a lot of these characters. Except
he knows what
Tim,
he's doing.
And he bit the dust. And I am perfectly okay with that.
We all are. Fuck
like,
Tim.
Oh, yeah.
I hope
Tim
Mon Mothma, I don't know timeline-wise, like, when Mon Mothma's husband is like alive or dead or whatever. If we see him just shot dead in this show, I won't complain. Like if Mon Mothma is put in a situation where like her husband rats her out and she has to like, she has no choice but to give him the axe. I'm gonna be like, you go, girly, like do it. Like,
I hope she kills him.
The interesting thing is though that like with Mon Mothma in this,
I can't see her killing him because it's like it's Mon Mothma. But like,
I don't see that. I don't see that personally because she's the kind of like the moral center of the rebellion, whereas
but also I can see Genevieve O'Reilly just like exploding.
Can we talk about Genevieve O'Reilly real quick and how good she is?
I'm so happy that she's got this leading role here.
I just love her story of being cast for Revenge of the Sith, having her scenes cut. She's in the background of like 1 or 2 scenes, and that's it. They bring her back 11 years later for Rogue One. She's got like a minor role in there, and now she's the main role, and she is eating it up. She is so good. The costume design, everything, every single shot, she looks just like angelic. But I'm not
such a fucking Mon Mothma simp now.
Her like she is so powerful in her acting. Just hats off, and like I'll give it to George. Is like he found her. I'm guessing pretty much probably just casted her on the resemblance to the original actress, and she's a superstar. Like she is incredible in this role, and I'm so glad that she got to be back there because, like, with Breha Organa, they recasted her for Obi-Wan. But
that's true.
For Genevieve, she got to come back to the role, and she got to be it in Rebels too, and now she's a main character in Andor, and we're finally, after almost 40 years of knowing this character, finally getting some like real, true character development for Mon Mothma, and I'm so excited after just one episode. I'm like.
Right, outside of like some brief mentions in like books and stuff, like this is the first time I feel like it's been like she's an actual character and not just like someone to kind of feed you information because she works for the rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, she's the leader. She's the chancellor. It's like, oh, what does she do? She's the chancellor. She's a leader. It's like, all right, but like, can we get stories about it? It's like, she's not Palpatine. She's the good guy. It's like, all right, but can we get more about her? And now we're finally getting that. So I'm excited. Yeah, because like I feel like we had the one story, but I think by the time of Bloodline, she was already retired.
Yes.
So like,
yeah, she was implied she had declining health. Yeah, she had declining health in Bloodline. She has not been a factor in them, or like they just completely skipped over her role. So I'm just very excited that we're finally about like,
which makes me wonder now. How old is she?
I don't know. I mean,
well, she's got to be like, I think she's at least the same age as Breha Organa, because there's a line in Princess and the Scoundrel where like Mon Mothma, Leia, thinks about how Mon Mothma is a similar age to her mother, I think. So I'm guessing like 40s maybe, like overall. But like, I was going to say, fun fact: the original Mon Mothma, Caroline Blakiston, was in Poldark with the actor who played Cyril. Because he had like a lead role. He had a lead role there for the first 2 seasons, and so did she. So it's just really funny. Yeah.
I looked on Wikipedia. She was born 46 BBY. So at the time of this show, she's 41.
41.
So
that feels about right. Yeah.
Good looking.
So
41.
Which means she'll be a little over 70 by the time of Bloodline.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is she like alive during the events of the sequels? Or have they never said that?
She's dead. I feel like the First Order would go after her, and if she has declining health,
I feel like she might have been. I mean, they haven't said it yet, but like, if they were to say like down the line that she was on Hosnian Prime when it got kablooied, I would buy that.
Yeah,
I would buy it, but I would be sad.
I would be very
think
sad,
she is.
especially after this show. Like,
If she wasn't on Hosnian Prime, though, like I could absolutely see the First Order having sent like a contingency to wherever she was at. Just
think with how much
that'd be a pretty good story to tell, right?
you would think
that would
how
be
much
interesting.
JJ was shoehorning original trilogy stuff into Rise of Skywalker that she would have at least had a mention or something in there, but
I just get the sense that at some point
he was
we are just
shoehorning
gonna
a
get
New
like
Hope shit.
yeah, but like
we're
they
gonna
had
get like a
some of the
bevy of
Return of the
stories.
Jedi stuff. They had the Death Star. They had Wicket show up. You know,
Is true.
Little Wicket
We're
with
gonna
That
get
was
like a
fucking
bevy
great.
of stories
I
at
love
some
him.
point
I love
that are
that.
just delving into the sequel era and like what all these characters that we've established what they were doing around that time. Because I really
maybe
No, I'd be
kinda like
great to
Rebels.
still see
Maybe
Mon
they should-
Mothma
maybe they
in, like,
should
the
do that.
sequel era. I could definitely see her having like a Marva type role.
I just think that the sequel trilogy needs some kind of, I don't want to say Clone Wars treatment, but like,
no,
for lack of a
Clone
better
Wars
term, like
Clone
it needs
Wars
a Clone.
treatment.
It needs a
does.
Clone Wars treatment because, like, yes,
I think
Resistance is fucking awesome, and everybody should watch that, and I can't fucking wait to cover it. But like, it's
like
it's
5
not
years.
enough. Yeah,
it's
no,
like,
literally.
because this is the thing. This is
Maybe
the thing about
6.
Andor.
I think
That's
5
Depending
is
on
too.
depending on how we cover Rebels is gonna determine that. Because if we go episode by episode, which we won't, I'm just letting you know right now.
We have to do like 5 episodes at a time.
Yeah, we will.
especially season 1 for sure.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
oh yeah.
Yeah, but like
The
what I was going to
Bailu
say about
one
Andor
run.
is that like, and to tie into what we were talking about here, because like the reason that the sequel trilogy should get like a Clone Wars style series that like covers the events is that like, you know, the actual historical events of the sequel trilogy are really interesting if you place them as like events in this like big sprawling timeline. As movies, you know, there can be a bit of a mixed bag at times, like, you know, cough Rise of Skywalker, but with Andor, what's interesting is that Andor is doing exactly that, where it's really kind of bridging this conflict and building on a lot of the stuff and giving a lot of these events we've already seen like bigger weight. So like by the time we're done with Andor, like all the events of Rogue One are going to feel a lot more like weighty character-wise. Like Andor, like Cassian going to Scarif, like you said earlier, is going to be like a lot more of a momentous decision because he's going to make a decision that's like rooted in what he believes in, not what like the rebellion is telling him to do.
Right. We actually get to see the impact of like the big event films that we see, because that's really what it is. Like the Star Wars films are the big events of the universe, and then like the shows and the books and the comics and that tend to focus more on like the real world kind of stuff of that. And so like we've gotten
almost
right.
Yeah, it's a good idea to like look at it as like
much.
comic book stuff, like how in like Marvel they have big crossover events that are like these big
Right.
these big blockbuster stories, and then all the other like smaller books like
They all
the fallout of
build into
and,
that.
and build up to other
Right.
stuff.
I'm going to
And
be
so, like-
careful with my wording here because I feel like someone's going to take it as, oh, he just wants super gritty Star Wars, which I don't. I don't want like hard R shit, but like I would love if the next trilogy of Star Wars movies or just the next Star Wars movie in general had the feeling of Andor. Like the kind of vibes we're getting, just the way it's being, like the story is being presented, almost like a political thriller epic kind of thing. I would love that.
It's just
I
so
mean,
grounded, and it makes the universe feel.
We're still on track to have Rian Johnson's film trilogy. So
Yeah.
I mean, he could do it, but like if they were like, "Hey, Tony, like we really need a Star Wars movie out by 2025,"
Well,
you put something
apparently
together?
he signed that.
Oh, that's bullshit. Actually,
It is
the first
bullshit.
look deal.
yeah.
Oh,
How do you know
okay.
that, Connor?
They literally said like the fucking people who wrote that article.
Oh
I
no,
think
they
like
did.
yeah, they were like, yeah, we got this wrong. It's like, yeah, I
Yeah,
figured.
what the fuck? I was so excited for that because like just let him
Tony
do whatever he
Gilroy.
wants.
again,
He's
like
so good.
people are like using against him, like, oh, he's not a Star Wars fan. It's like, well, I mean, he's
That's
got
a
to be
big
at least
advantage.
he's got to be a bit of one if he's writing one and writing something that's this good. But
Right.
having someone like you don't need someone that's super duper duper hardcore Star Wars. Like I would love that, honestly, but like getting a fresh pair of
You need someone who can
eyes-
tell stories.
Yeah,
And I can't even
it's
lie, like
working.
we're getting a great story with this. We're getting better world building than I think we have ever fucking gotten since like
clearly,
A New
like
Hope,
the man
probably.
has some sense of like liking for this universe. If he's able to throw in all this stuff, he's just not like as over the moon as it is like Dave Filoni is or Favreau or Ryan Johnson.
And I feel like maybe his like. Right, I feel like maybe his limited, like maybe his limited knowledge is honestly like a positive. I would say like it's better than having someone like a Filoni who thinks that they know everything about Star Wars, because then they're just going to tell the story because they think they know it all. And then obviously we've seen with Dave Filoni, there's been retcon after retcon after retcon. Rise of Skywalker with JJ, retcon after retcon after retcon. But with Tony and Andor, everything that he's done, like every mention, Easter egg, background thing, anything has connected like seamlessly with everything around it. And I think that that's probably because he's not afraid to go to the story group and say, hey, I want to mention something like this. What should I do?
Yeah.
And they're able to give input on that.
Fest thing from last week's episode.
Mhm.
It's like,
See,
we want to
that's
have
so
Canary be
cool.
a thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Well,
we only
this-
And it's
touched
like
on
how
it,
Mon
but,
Mothma
like,
mentioned how the supply routes to, was it Gorel? I think it is the planet.
that's the rebels.
struggling- right,
Not
that's
Corel. Fucking.
No, it
I
starts
know
with
what
a
you're
G.
talking about.
It starts with
It's
a
in
G.
the
there's a
episode
lot of
Secret
planet
Cargo.
shout-outs.
From
Mhm,
Rebels.
That's what she mentions. That massacres why she left the Imperial Senate.
I also just want to just.
And
Star
that's what I
Wars
was going to
nerd in
say
me.
about Mon Mothma quickly. Like, that's what's going to be interesting about her role here, because we know she can't leave the Senate yet. She is going to be still on Coruscant by the end of this show, well, at least this series, until like series 2, because like we saw her get extracted from the Senate in Rebels. Although we don't see them break her out of Coruscant. So this is the interesting thing: is Cassian going to help with like her initial extraction
that
from
up.
Coruscant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Because we
That would be
only see
cool.
the rebels, like we only see because I'm pretty sure we only see the Ghost Crew intercept.
Yeah.
Mon
She's
Mothma's
already
transport.
off Coruscant when they pick her
So
up.
Rebels season 3, where would
Yes.
that be timeline wise? How many years
I
before
believe-
New Hope? Is it 2?
2.
Yeah.
So that
I think
would probably
seasons
be
1 and 2 take place over 5 BBY to 3 BBY, and then it's 2 BBY and then 1 BBY.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
like,
I think.
and we know that because season 2 is going to like jump through the years. Like,
so that
Yeah,
would
they
probably
said
be like
that-
middle
Yeah.
of season 2.
Yeah, what did they
you can
say
see
that this season
Every
1
3
is
episodes
1
would
year?
be 1
Yeah.
year.
Season 1 is
Yeah.
1 year, and then every 3 episodes for season 2
Is
would
1
be
year. So it'd be
a year.
4 BBY, 3 BBY, 2 BBY, and then 1 BBY up until we already know how it ends. It ends with him going to, what's it, the Ring of Kefrine?
Yeah. Like literally, Tony just
We
gave
know
us the
how the
ending.
series ends.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, he's gonna be walking on the tarmac to go meet Tivik. It's like, oh, okay.
It's like,
Thanks,
all
Tony.
right, cool,
Mhm.
thanks. It's like,
And it's
all right,
still
I
the
guess I'm
best
just not
fucking
gonna-
show we've ever gotten. We know how the
Well-
show ends. We know how Cassian dies after the show ends, and it's the best fucking thing we've gotten.
Well, but
And this
like
is
I
what
said
I was
last
gonna
week,
say
it's
about,
like
like-
we know Cassian makes it out alive. We don't know anything about most of the other characters.
It's true.
exactly.
So-
like, yeah, it gives. So there's still a big sense of tension.
There's a lot of stakes.
with
Yeah.
a lot
I mean,
of the cast.
I'm still riding on my Luthen theory with Saw Gerrera from last week. Like I still think
What
that's
was
how
that?
it will
I
kill
haven't
him.
watched the episode.
I said that I think that Luthen might die because of not like directly because of Saw, but like his actions indirectly cause Luthen to get killed, and that's what starts the split between Saw and the Rebels.
I do
is
like
my-
the idea. I
is
like the
my
idea because
theory
like we need to
that I
see
came up
Saw
with
do-
on the
Yeah.
fly in the middle of
Yeah,
last week's episode.
It was a good theory. It's a good theory because, like, I actually think we need to see Saw do something just bad. Like, we know he's an extremist, but we have seen
We've
him
read
get a lot
about
of
it.
syn-
We've heard about
Yeah.
like, dude, literally,
Right,
there's
we
a
haven't
massacre in Rebel
seen it, though.
Rising.
Yeah,
it's
'cause,
like
like, in-
graphic as hell.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
Oh,
a
okay.
massacre in
I haven't
Rebel
read Rebel
Rising.
Rising.
That's like,
oh shit. Okay, well
Fuck.
maybe that will do, but I think we probably need to see him do at least something in this show. Because like I feel like Rogue One sort of got up to the line of it and then didn't really show how far he had fallen as an extremist. 'Cause, like we see him, we see what he does with Bodhi with the Bore Gullet and the
Oh,
Mind
God.
Probe, which is yeah. But like
That's more him just being so like untrustworthy, though. I feel like rather than
it's more him
extremist.
being paranoid. Yeah, exactly. We need to see a sign of
because
his
he doesn't even
extremism.
trust Jin.
Yeah, he thinks
Jin
she's
was
there.
like his
She's there to
adopted
kill
daughter.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
To kill me.
There's nothing to be left.
Oh, that's a surprisingly moving statement. Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like with Saul, we need to see at least something to like show us as an audience like why the rebellion is like doesn't really want to associate itself with him. But like, before we move further, I was gonna say about like the writing, and because we've been talking about Tony Gilroy, and this is the thing I like the most about it is like it shows like why sometimes you do need an outsider perspective in Lucasfilm, because like, you know, in writing these kind of stories, because it's really cool having a fan perspective, someone who's a fan of this, because they know stuff and they can tell these really intimate stories sometimes and like really build on the mythos. But you can also, with an outside voice like Tony Gilroy, someone who's not like beholden to Star Wars, they can take a look at all these, they might have a perspective that as a fan, none of us might have. I mean, I personally, like, as someone who wants to like one day write Star Wars and stuff, I wouldn't necessarily have thought to like write some of these types of characters and like these types of scenarios. And it's just really cool to see what like a fresh creative mind will bring.
Type of rebellion than I was expecting, which I do like. And and I think the
doing that subversive thing,
we're going to get different,
like Star Wars does.
Different versions of the rebellion, pockets, or whatever that kind of
pockets of fermenting.
Yeah, we're gonna see
one
a
of
bunch
my favorite line deliveries.
There's
ever.
pockets out there, sir. Pockets.
Sorry,
There's fermenting out there, sir. Pockets of fermenting.
Yeah.
I love the way he always goes, "Stop!"
But I don't know. That's another thing about Andor, and I got to get on my soapbox here again for a second. But the people like, how can I get invested into the show if I don't care about Cassian and like we already know he dies? It's like, okay, if I am loving the show and I probably have Rogue One lower on my like list of people than everyone on this panel and most people on Twitter, what's your excuse then? Because like,
it's like
I'm loving.
I would just also ask them if they watched Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, how can you watch that if we know Vader dies,
and
we
the
know
prequel
Obi-Wan dies, we know Leia dies,
yeah,
what happens in
like
the original
what about
trilogy?
the prequel trilogy?
Yeah, we know how it all ends.
Exactly. I mean, people did complain about that.
Well,
we know this. Like, we know Padme's not in A New Hope, so I mean, she's got to die. That was the thing with Ahsoka too, with Clone Wars. It's like
that was the thing with Ezra in Rebels.
Yeah. It's like they're not in the movies,
die.
so
and
like,
see, to Dave Filoni's credit, like I will praise Dave Filoni like so much for like using people's expectations of that and just completely like messing with it, what everyone thought would flipping it and going, oh no, they're not going to die. I'm going to like find some way to.
Ahsoka's got to die before the end of the Clone Wars because she's not in Revenge of the Sith.
God!
5 years from now, Dave is going to re-release Revenge of the Sith and have Ahsoka superimposed in the background of every single shot.
I feel like we always talk about it
like
on the Clone Wars episodes, though. But it's like, do you guys remember how like every fucking Clone Wars season finale, they're like, "Will Ahsoka die? Find out on the season finale," and then it's
the third season in particular had me worried. I was so worried during the third season with the Trandoshans for sure.
But being honest, I don't remember much of Clone Wars because like I was still in middle school and high school, and like Star Wars I wasn't as big into Star Wars as I am now. So like I remember some of the first season and a bit of the second, but like after that, I just don't.
Yeah, I fell off after
the show.
Like midway through season 2, I want to say, but I would still catch the adverts because I was still watching other stuff on Cartoon Network. And I'm like, Chewie's showing up, and then I saw Maul came back. I'm like, okay, maybe I got to get into this. And then I remember I saw the duel because someone posted the duel with Maul and Sidious and Savage. I was like, okay, I gotta watch this. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
The only season that I didn't watch like when it came out was season 6. Because I honestly had no idea that it even released. Like, I knew that it got canceled after season 5, and I was like, well, that fucking sucks. Whatever.
They released Jar Jar Binks canonically fuck.
Yeah.
Also, they released it on Netflix originally.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just had no fucking clue. And then it was like a year later, I saw this clip, and I was like, what the fuck is that from? I've seen every Clone Wars episode. What is this? And it's like season 6, episode 4. And I'm like, what?
You're like, 6? And then
I can't wait to talk that Jar Jar episode.
The thing I hated was like when they were like preparing for Disney Plus, they pulled Clone Wars like season 6 off
Early.
a year before like it went on Disney Plus. So I was like, I'm midway through my watch. I'm like, well, I can't finish.
Well, Clone Wars was
this
supposed to get pulled even earlier, if I remember correctly, and then there was that crazy fucking petition. Like, keep that shit on,
That's
bro.
the thing that I always got confused is like that was technically a Netflix original, was season 6. I'm like, why would you pull that? Like, I can understand season 1 through 5, but then like 6, and then when they were like, okay, at Disney Plus, I'm like, okay, cool. Can you get it to me sooner so I can finish my watch of it?
I hadn't watched Clone Wars in so long when I found out season 6 existed that I was like, oh, fuck, I need to do a whole series rewatch. So I started it, and then I was like on season 4, I think, when they announced that season 6 was getting taken off in a couple of weeks. And so I started watching like a fuck ton of episodes every day. And then like as I got to season 6, like, psych, yeah, we're taking it off next year instead.
Could you imagine, like, cool. Just thinking about it, like, we kind of make fun of, like, Dave with Ahsoka sometimes, but, like, I think we all love Ahsoka here. Could you imagine if she wasn't in Rebels?
Guilty.
And, like...
No,
she wasn't...
Yeah, I don't see it.
Like, if she wasn't in Rebels, and we still had to wait as long as we did for Clone Wars Season 7.
Oh, Siege on Mandalore, yeah.
So, like, you go, like...
That would hurt.
Not only that, but
hurt.
I was just saying, like, going that many years without seeing the character... Just the reaction again to like the show coming back.
I have to wonder how like
because she was not in the last season or season 6. Like that would have been
she wasn't there at all.
Now
I have to imagine like would the general fan reception to her be different because like we've always had some kind of Ahsoka content at one point or another. But like we went through like that like 4 or 5 year gap with nothing.
Well, you make a good point because like if she wasn't in Rebels, like her defining scene for a lot of the fandom is the I am no Jedi. So
and the last we would have seen of her would have been just her leaving the Order. That's it. So we just probably would have assumed she left and lived a normal life, and that was that.
Yeah, or got killed during Order 66. But I mean,
in that case, if you frame it like that, we would all fucking flipped. I mean, we all flipped, but like. It would have been It would have been.
I don't know though, because everyone always assumed from the beginning she was. I know this is an Andor episode now. We're on like a 4-minute tangent of Ahsoka, but like we all assumed she was gonna die.
Oh yeah,
whether that was before Revenge of the Sith or during 66 or whatever. I genuinely don't remember anybody thinking that she was gonna make it out alive.
I didn't.
No, me neither.
And then she showed up in Rebels like, okay, sweet.
Well, because Star Wars at the time felt so mapped out, like because we had the whole expanded universe that covered the timeline, and then like there was like, no indication of any like movies, and it was only until like season 5, like literally the tail end, like literally the last season of the Clone Wars to be on television before we had any announcement that they were like making more movies. It's like because I remember watching season 5 and being like, oh. This feels so weird to watch this now.
Because what was that?
There's more movies coming.
2012.
2012. It was 2012. Yeah, it was 2012. I remember.
Yeah, because the Maul stuff was like early 2012, like when they were.
I thought it was a joke.
When they were re-releasing Phantom Menace, which in a way is the greatest movie tie-in of all time, is bring them all back in Clone Wars to promote the 3D re-release of the Phantom Menace. And then later in that really year, when we were all thinking like, okay, so when are they going to do like Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, because they were going to release everything, and then they delayed Episode 2's release when Lucasfilm got bought out, and then it just ended up being Phantom Menace. But I still remember like thinking like, oh, okay, so this is going to be interesting. And then I remember everyone's heartbreak when Clone Wars got canceled, and I thought that wasn't going to happen again with Star Wars content because of Disney Plus, and then it did.
7, so I'll never forget the season 7 trailer. I almost punched a coworker in excitement.
I bawled I had like tears all down my
jaw
face.
Dropped.
I was like, work too. I was working at an ice rink at the time doing repairs with this grumpy old Vietnam War veteran. And he like went back to go grab tools, and I was supposed to be pickaxing ice like off of like the ice rink so that we could resurface it. And he just comes back, and I'm fucking bawling my eyes out. And he's like, "Fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I hit my foot." I ran to the bat, like I faked a limp into the bathroom and I watched the trailer again. It was just fucking like
Oh my god.
bawling my fucking eyes out when that fucking trailer came out at, what was it, San Diego Comic-Con, I think?
Comic-Con
Yeah.
2018. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. And then those
It's
bastards made us
fantastic.
wait 2 years for the
Oh, that was
season to come
evil.
Yeah, but it was timed perfectly because it came right after Rise of Skywalker.
That- yeah.
So it was like,
It
I
fixed
mean, that was
my
like-
hatred of Star Wars.
That in a way, like, I looking back on it, and it's just kind of tragic because like that Clone Wars announcement was amazing. It kind of killed Star Wars Resistance before it even started because Resistance hadn't even aired yet. It like that first trailer, I think, had maybe come out and people were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Right.
And then they announced Clone Wars, so it's like, okay,
Yeah.
they knew that Filoni was going to be busy with Clone Wars, and then Mando was coming out. So it never had its chance to
Hey, if
get.
we can save Clone Wars
spotlight.
twice, we can save Resistance once and just get it that third season that it was supposed to have and let them finish out the arc.
I would
That
be
would
fine
be-
with
that
them.
would be cool.
Like even
Yeah.
if they don't like do like that proper, if they were to do like a sequel trilogy Clone Wars, which again, do it please. Just integrate those
Do it now.
characters into the series.
Do
it.
I would be fine with that.
Do it.
Give me Jarek Yeager cameoing in Andor. Like, give me that right now.
Oh,
But
That
remember,
would
we
be
can't
sick.
do that. We can't do that,
Captain
guys.
Doza. Captain Doza was part of the Empire.
And his wife was part of the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's like the closest thing we've had to Lost Stars adaptation is their story, which I love. But remember, we can't have
I
any
love
of that
Lost
because there's no Easter
There's,
eggs.
there's
No
not
Easter
a
egg.
single Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on a
None.
more serious note, because like we're gonna get like Imperial
Yeah,
Senate
I was
stuff
like,
next
let me
episode.
get back to
like,
Andor.
yeah, let's get segue.
I was like, what else
But,
can we
like,
talk about?
But like getting back to Andor, like what I know we're gonna get like Imperial Senate stuff likely next week. So like I
can't wait.
hypothesized last time, like, are we gonna get like a Palpatine cameo there? But I think more likely we're gonna get like a Masamida appearance. Because that
Well,
dude is always at the Senate.
Masamida. I would definitely see Masamida, but I also think we are going to get Palpatine because obviously Ian worked on Kenobi, and we
Yeah.
know that Palpatine faked the way he looked throughout the entirety of
I didn't even think of that.
the
Yeah, 'cause in
Imperial
Rebels-
Senate reign.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but he
So
did appear. He did
Revenge
appear
of the
as like
Sith.
himself, and he did like that's the interesting thing. That's what I found so interesting about his appearance being faked in Rebels is that like he appeared in Revenge of the Sith as like himself, and I guess that was like a
Right.
hologram.
I think that
so I
was a
didn't
thing to
recall.
show what the Jedi did to him, though, and that he's
Yeah.
probably like, "Look, I'm healed because I'm your beautiful Chancellor." Because, like, do you guys
Because
any of you
you
guys
gave
have
me the
the-
Empire, I'm healed.
right?
Mhm.
Do you guys have any of the Star Wars propaganda book that came out a couple years ago, though?
No, I want
I
to get
don't,
it,
but I
don't
know
have it.
which one you're talking about.
I do, and
I
it's
actually haven't
fucking
heard of that one.
awesome. And it's really cool. It's like real world inspired Star Wars style propaganda. It's fucking awesome.
Whoa.
But there's Empire propaganda with Palpatine looking like all fresh and young and new, but it's Imperial. And so, like, I really think that if they do show Palpatine, he is gonna have that. I don't know if
That
he's going to show up
hologram
as a hologram that looks not scarred, or if they're going to somehow fake him in person looking not scarred, or what. But like, I really think that they're going to go that way.
I'm
I
so
could see
weirdly
at
excited
best
for
a
the Senate.
voiceover.
Yeah, I'm so
That's just
excited
my
for the
thing.
Senate folder because, like, you know, this is almost kind of like a form of like fan service for me as like a fan of the Phantom Menace. You know,
But
with,
again,
like,
no
that
Easter
lengthy
eggs.
credit scene.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
was
none.
one of the
But, like-
names that was on the list of like dinner guests?
It was that little beady-eyed, bald, scary
Sly
motherfucker. that
Moore.
stands
I
next
think
to-
I think in Legend she fucked Palpatine.
I think
like
you're
pretty.
right.
Gross.
I
It's
think you're
Rey's
right.
grandma!
Oh no. No, I'll never
He said it
erase what
with
I've just
such-
heard from
Yeah.
With
my
such
ears.
like gusto.
Yeah,
too.
literally,
Like,
the first tweet I see on my timeline is a picture of Sly Moore saying, "Oh, Mon Mothma's dinner guest." So, I mean, if she shows up, that would be cool.
that would
that
be
would be
sick
really
because
cool.
like I love Sly Moore's design.
It's such a cool design. All the like opera house.
All the prequel
Characters.
designs are just
Isn't
god
she
tier.
Yeah.
Obaran? Is
They're
that what
so
it is?
good.
Say that
They're
again,
so
Jake.
cool.
Is she Obaran?
Hey Siri. Search up Sly Moore.
Which one does Siri just go, mm-hmm?
Okay.
Great
I found
podcast
this on the web for
content.
search up Sly Moore.
Yeah,
Check it out.
shut the fuck up, Siri. Yeah, she's in Barin.
Okay.
She is
Yeah.
Umbara.
Now, you know,
I'm gonna win
that means,
trivia.
know who
that
else
means
should
the
show
whole
up?
Umbara arc comes from Sly Moore's integration. How nuts is that?
Give
Can we just
me-
take a moment?
Written by Matt Miknovitz.
Give
Matty
me
Mitch.
George Lucas's character from Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
Like, have
Baron
him.
Papanoid.
Give me
Yeah,
Baron
hell
Papanoida.
Yes.
Like,
Dude,
holy
I'm
shit,
not
George
gonna-
Lucas just cameos in Andor as Baron
Just
Papanoida.
fucking shows up
That
in
would
some
be
random
awesome.
shot.
What about Rio Chuchi?
Yes.
That would be cool.
Yes.
Rio Chuchi, because she is a senator. She is a senator, so she would be there. Of course she would.
Speaking of her, we're
There's-
going to be covering
there's
her on
gonna
the
be
next episode of For the Republic
My
for our Clone Wars
queen.
coverage.
I like Rio Chuchi. She's cool. Like,
Yeah,
this is what I mean.
senator.
We're probably going to get so many Easter eggs in terms of like the Senate because there's going to be all
Zero.
these interesting senators.
again,
Not better
Zero.
than the
No,
not a
ET
single
aliens.
one.
We need the ET
Yeah.
aliens.
It's just going to
Yes.
be
It's
all
gonna be
just
cool to see like a
humanoid characters.
really. It's gonna be cool to see like because it'll be fan servicey, yes, because for some of the characters, but it'll be really cool to get like a charged political debate in
I
this.
just want
like,
to
in
see
the
Mon
Senate chamber.
Mothma rip these people a new one.
Yeah.
If I get
I wanna-
Nemoidians without a Newt Gunray mention, I'm gonna cry.
Do you think
Wait, is
Seal
Lot
Bibble's
Dodd still
alive
around?
at the time of Andor?
Dude,
him a
Seal
look.
Bibble showed up, I would
Maybe.
die. That would be
Seal
great.
Bibble, yeah.
What
about
about
Lot
Would be
Dodd?
cool.
Okay, because I
Fuck
haven't
I
Lot
read.
think
Dodd.
Lot Dodd's still around.
He
Fuck
can
Lot
die.
Dodd.
Yeah, he's
Fuck.
like got a walk. He's got like a thing. He's
can-
just like limping
can-
on that. He's like
He can
the
go.
Trade Federation.
Nah, it'd be
I
cool
hate
if he
that
had like one of those like chairs that the people sitting in Wally, where they just like float
Yeah.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because they have those chairs with the legs that like walk them around. So he's just like walks on like that, and he's like,
He's like,
not-
"Whoa."
Yeah, he's on like a
Federation.
prototype of like the Bomar of whatever the Bomar monks are
Mhm.
oh,
those
there's a-
devices.
If he's not dead in canon already, if I ever get the chance to write for Star Wars, I will make sure he is with my first story.
Well, see, now that you said that on a podcast,
yeah.
that's
It's like,
gonna
oh,
get
you
published
remind me of
legally,
deceased
You won't be allowed to
Nemo-
do that.
Senator.
But legally, you could write for SWEF and write his
Legally,
death in SWE
legally, I
fiction.
could.
Just saying.
that would be pretty
you know,
cool.
The cards are on the table.
We're all
I've
gonna get the
completely
red dots on our head right now.
I've
Austin's just
completely
sitting somewhere
Austin,
like.
Austin just wakes up in a cold sweat. It's like, what? What are we talking about?
What's the
You
I
think
would
Austin is asleep right now? Austin's not going to bed for like 11 more hours.
I completely forgot about the point I was going to make, but okay, I remember now. Because I haven't read Princess of Alderaan. Does that
Me
take
neither.
place earlier than this or later? Because a character that could show up, depending on the timeline, is
Hey
Panaka.
Siri,
But I know he dies in Princess of
Ooh.
Alderaan. So
search up Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
Pie in the sky theory.
I'm sorry,
Leia shows
I didn't
up.
quite catch that. Could you please say that
That
again?
would be kind of cool.
I mean,
I-
who
like,
would it
search
be?
up
It would have to be a new character.
Leia, Princess of Alderaan. Thank you, Siri.
But like, well, I mean, there is that
A
fan
three
theory.
B
There is that
three
whole thing about-
BBY. It takes place. So
Oh.
is that
So partway through, so that's partway through season 2 then.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Okay,
he could
so
show
this
up
2 years.
in
He could
the.
show up then.
Well, he was. No, he wasn't a senator. He was a Moff, I thought.
Who?
Panaka.
Panaka? He was. Yeah.
Oh, he'd be a moth because he was.
I'm
was
just
always
saying,
a
I didn't know
security
timeline
detail.
wise.
Yeah,
when
he's
he
a
could
moth.
show up because he gets.
I mean, of
axed
course, he
in
kind of
that
deserves
Doesn't
to
he-
come back to
Doesn't he
Star
get
Wars.
offed by Leia or something?
I think it's Saw, isn't it?
It's Saw Gerrera.
He gets offed
'cause
by
he's-
Saw. Wow.
He should be in.
I,
Yeah,
I
like,
think he put the pieces together that Leia was Padme's daughter, and before he could inform
Yeah.
Sheevy Boy, Saw killed him.
yeah. Like, I'd love to see.
I haven't
Panaka
read the
play-
book. I just
he-
Thank you.
That's his
Thank
name.
you, Saw. That's
'Cause
like
we
your one
only
good
read-
contribution to the rebellion.
But this is the interesting thing about Panaka, like, because Panaka is only like we only sort of see him in episode 1 as like a pretty much loyal bodyguard to Padme, and then all the other ancillary materials have like shown him being an Empire loyalist. So it'd be really cool to kind of see that visualized. And I also like Hugh Portier as an actor because you know he's something of a fixture over here in
He's
the
so
UK
good.
because he's like he did a medical drama Holby City. He was very known for that, and he also did Doctor Who. To continue
There it is
the
again.
thread.
Oh my
From-
god.
well, I'm trying to
That just
remember what
confirms
arc-
it there. He's
Yeah.
going to be in the show.
Dr. Garfield.
I'm trying to
Senator
remember
Dr.
what
Garfield.
arc it was that we talked about that I mentioned that Panaka was supposed to show up in one of the Clone Wars episodes and get killed by Grievous, and then they scrapped it because they didn't have a character design for him. So that canonically would have been his death, but he is now being killed by Saw
because like who's the senator for
Dave
Naboo as
Filoni
well?
retcons it in Tales of the Jedi season 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure who the
because like I suppose Jar Jar could be
was
the
supposed
senator
to
for
be in the
Naboo, but there's no
Malevolence
way
arc.
Jar Jar's in this.
No, I don't think Jar Jar is still a senator at this point in the timeline.
No. I don't think so, and I just, as much as I love Jar Jar, I just don't think he would fit into this whole
is he street
dynamic.
Jar Jar Binks at this point, or is
he's
that...
street clown? What is it? 1 year after
1 ABY? No.
Jedi.
It would be 4 ABY.
Yeah, exactly. Which I still need to read the Aftermath books. I really want to get into them.
Good.
Like, there's so many.
Bendix's writing is so goofy, but the stories are so good.
I've heard the first
Nora
one's kind of
Wexley, my queen.
but the
I
second
really
two
like
are
the
great.
first one, but the second 2 are peak.
Dude, I need to read the first one.
I just remember
one.
Aftermath 1 came out at the same time as Lost Stars, and I just remember Aftermath got all the attention, and everyone was like, "Wait, no, this Lost Stars is freaking fantastic."
I read
And
them
that's
both
all
like
I-
back to back.
the Aftermath book in a hardcover because I have it in a really small paperback, and I just can't do it because it's like
I can't read those small paperbacks.
That's my copy
I'm like
of
an old
Dark
man. I'm like,
Disciple.
same.
It's
I got especially doing it with one eye. Not fun.
and
not
definitely
fun.
not. I would pop for if a Gungan, just a random Gungan showed up in the Imperial.
Oh, that would be
Senate.
great.
That would be
that
would be
I mean, I
awesome.
could see another Gungan.
I can see Gilroy being the guy to do it. He can be like,
well,
I don't care that you guys don't like.
if you
these
want a
things."
really fucking weird connection, Gungans and the Rakata are actually ancient related species. They come from the same homeworld, and the Rakata actually basically abused the Gungans and forced them to flee Rakata Prime, and they migrated to Naboo. They are of the same original species, like very, very ancient species, though.
Okay.
So we got the Rakata mention.
Okay, screw that. You know what? Screw that. I am reading Dawn of the Jedi after we finish.
That's not from
this.
Dawn
That
of the
is
Jedi. That's from something else.
What?
But still,
Oh man, that's like you just blow my mind with that. That's insane.
Did that come out right before the Disney acquisition? Dawn of the Jedi.
2012. It was the last Legends material that released.
John Ostrander, wasn't it? John Ostrander. He's written a lot for Star Wars. He's written multiple characters.
It's so good. I mean, cannot recommend that more.
Am I wrong in saying that one of the first couple canon books were supposed to be Legends, and then they were just lumped into it, like that Luke book?
Then
I think Tarkin
was supposed to be Legends, and I think Tarkin was the other one, but the Luke one.
Oh yeah, Heir to the Jedi.
I know. A New Dawn is the first new canon book, but then Heir to the Jedi came out after. And
Heir to the Jedi was originally a Legends project that Disney pulled in.
I hear that's awful. I've never read it, but
I've heard it's not a good book.
I've never even seen anybody say anything good about it.
A lot. For sure. But I was gonna say just last word about Gungans. Like Gungans, we know in the High Republic books, they speak with a normal diction. They because we see Gungans who are
Professor
denial.
The Professor.
Shout out to Professor Walk. That dude's cool.
And Wet Bub is a menace.
Wet Bub is a menace.
R.I.P. Sure. Love that man.
Yeah.
Do we have anything
maybe it's
else
just some of the weird Naboo Gungans who was like, "You saw that big dude this time."
Boss Nash showing up in Andor. I would literally cry tears of joy. That's
Brian
my guy
Blessed.
right there.
Oh man.
When we do our top 100 thing, me and Jake, if Boss Nash shows up way higher than he probably should be, that's my fault.
It's a crime that Boss Nass was never in the Clone Wars. It really is.
Tarpals was, and then Grievous killed him.
You could just
imagine
you
Boss
rewind this
Nass
on YouTube.
Versus Lot Dodd.
Yeah,
you could go back on YouTube now and see the moment
I'd
Andrew's heart breaks when he realizes Boss Nass is not in the Clone Wars.
Guys, I'm canceling the podcast. It's been
all
fun.
over.
It's been a good run.
It's been fun. We got 10 arcs.
We almost got one season.
Yeah. Almost. We almost got through season 1, guys. Do we have anything else that we want to add to this episode besides the fact that it's awesome and it's setting up a lot of cool stuff?
Well, not much really. I just really like the way I like the way it's continuing to build on everything. Just to shout shout out a couple extra little things. Like, I love the attention to detail on some things, like how when the ship jumps to hyperspace, Cassian stumbles back.
Also,
it's
that
like
fast
the cup shaking
hyperdrive
in
calculation, the way he's just like, you got the calculation, jump, boom, and the ship just goes. Like, that was crazy.
Can we talk about Luthen's ship very quickly? That ship is
cool.
Really cool.
It's so cool. It's so
that is my
and
Millennium
efficient.
Falcon. Like, that ship is awesome.
And it shows that he is actually from money. Like, despite his rugged appearance in the first couple episodes, he is well connected. And it's I really like the way this built on a lot of the stuff. I like how it's continuing, how it's very clearly a setup episode. It's setting up a lot of the Senate stuff. It's setting up like this first big mission Cassian's going to do for the nascent rebellion. So I'm really looking forward to the next one being like a big payoff to all of that and sort of closing things out, because I assume there's going to be a time jump after this next one.
Probably,
yeah. At least a little one.
I want to point out two things first. One, I talked about the score earlier, which is just amazing. But like what I'm calling like Luthen's theme or like the Rebel theme that keeps playing, beautiful, love it. The second thing I want to talk about is just we talked about world building here, but I loved getting further details into like Chandrilan culture with Mon.
Yes.
Finally getting
so
that and just expanding on her character.
Also, the way Mon Mothma doesn't seem to be all that pleased with the mention of Chandrilan history. Like, what went on there? What's going on there?
Yeah. Like, it's really cool because it's like, this is for me is like, because I would say overall, like the world building in this is like Claudia Gray levels of efficient. Because like if anyone who's read Lost Stars, Claudia Gray is so good at getting across like world building for a planet. So like within the space of like a few sentences, you have a sense of this of the world and its culture. And that's true of Andor as well. Like with certain places like Chandrila, and we see with Andari. It's just really cool.
It makes every new location feel like we already know a lot about it, even though, like, for a lot of these, we've never seen them before.
Exactly.
The Gilroys must write more Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because, like, Tony Gilroy, Henry Gilroy wrote some banger episodes of Rebels.
And this was his brother that wrote it, right? Or Dan Gilroy? Is that
Dan wrote this episode, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's writing the next two.
The next two, yeah. Susanna White is directing 4 through 6, and then he's writing this arc. So shout out to both of them. They did an incredible job, especially getting a first-time director in there for the franchise. Like, really, really enjoy it. So unless you guys got anything else, I think we can wrap things up. Really excited about next week. So that's going to be it for us here. Hope you enjoyed our recap of episode 4, and then our just various spirals into everything else. But just the world building of the show just has me so inspired, and the fact that it's going off of all these other stuff. It's weird because all these connections, but there's nothing to make connections with.
There's no Easter eggs.
No Easter eggs in this whole
thing.
None.
No.
Like, the Easter Bunny's not even real.
It's not real.
No, the Easter Bunny's not real.
No.
Shut the fuck up, Jake.
Shut the fuck up, Connor.
But before we go on our Easter egg hunt, starting with Don, where can the good people find you?
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at Donovan Mead, where I tweet Star Wars, Marvel, sometimes politics, and you can also find me on SW editor IG.com, where I write articles for the site. I recently wrote an article about Obi-Wan, like where they could take a potential season 2 if they decide to do it. Please do it, Lucasfilm. I would love it if you did. And also, I write for SWEF, which is a collection of stories on SW Editor that, like, are basically they're fan stories that all link together, that are all joined by like a grand unifying continuity that like fits within the films. We try to make sure it fits within the films. I wrote Scars of War a few months ago, and I've got some other stories in the pipeline.
Perfect. Connor?
Twitter at Depa Banana. You can find me over at the Nerd Academy podcast, talking Star Wars as well. Our show is called Knights of the Nerd Republic. We record tomorrow. By tomorrow, I mean Thursday, September 29th. So when this probably drops, it'll probably be today, Thursday. I'm doing some timeline.
I'm hoping to get this out tomorrow.
Okay, so it'll probably be Thursday when this drops. So
these take less edits than the main show does, so it's easier on my end.
That's fair. You can also find me. No, wait, no, you can't really find me doing this. I write trivia questions now for Star Wars in a Galaxy Epic Confrontations.
Well, we can say that you had your match and you finished with the record of 1-1.
I have finished with a 500 record. I'm happy, but I gotta tell you, writing trivia questions really fucking fun because it's a really great form of torture, and I love it. You can find the if you want to watch any of the other matches or check out the account, you can find it at Star Wars in a Galaxy Trivia. No, at In a Galaxy Trivia. If you want to find the matches online, they're on the Star Wars in a Galaxy podcast YouTube. We do have one, the Imperial Senate podcast Civil War coming up. That's being recorded soon. I don't know when it'll drop. That'll be my first match as a question writer. And I'm just really excited for people to see what questions I wrote. Where else? Oh yeah, SWEF. Duh. I don't have any story. Yeah, SWEditor.ig.com/fiction on the website. I don't have any stories published yet. I do have, well, I have like a few in the works, but I have one like in the works that I can talk about. It's called The Hidden Kyber. It is part of our initiative called Dawn of the Order, which is we're taking a look at the formation of the First Order through our own unique lens. It's very character focused, very character driven. And my story is set shortly after the events of Fallen Order, and it stars Seer Junda and Cal Kestis. Don't know when it'll release because the release dates change like every week.
All right. The man with the glorious hair, where can the people find you?
Hey, yeah, I'm Jedi Jake __ on Twitter. I talk about like the same shit as everybody else, Star Wars and sometimes Marvel, and I yell at Republicans for being evil people. And yeah, Star Wars editor too. I'm always on the Discord over there. I again would be lying if I say I wrote articles because I haven't written one of those in like 2.5 years. But I have a comic releasing on the site next month. It's called The Day the Sky Turned Green. It's part of the Forgotten One initiative. And yeah, read that when that comes out. And then next year you'll get really sick of me because I have a lot of stuff coming out. But yeah, that's it.
There's some really cool stuff that Jake's been planning.
I find him designing
I'll just say
800 covers for SWEF stories.
Oh
Also,
my God. What
shout
am I
out to
now,
Jake.
Like 7?
Shout out to Jake for doing the excellent cover art for Scars of War. Appreciate it, dude.
So damn good.
Great. It's so good. But as for me, you can find me doing an Easter egg hunt on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch at Starlight Andrew.
You're not going to find any.
You're not going to find any because there's none in this show. You next year can see me joining the Epic Confrontations arena. Who I'm going to fight, who knows? But as for trivia on this podcast, I might have an announcement coming soon. Who knows? But you can also find the podcast on
I will
Twitter
be merciful if I write questions.
If you write.
I will contribute, but I will be like sparing.
Yeah, but all I'll say is there might be something coming soon. Who knows? But you can find the podcast on Twitter at For the Repub Pod and on Instagram at For the Republic Pod. We are very close to 100 on Instagram, so drop us a follow on there. You can also check us out on YouTube, where you're watching us in glorious video form. If you are, hello. For the Republic Podcast, subscribe to us so we can get closer to that 100 mark, which will be when we can start doing live streams and stuff on YouTube, so we can do some more fun content with you guys. As for the main show, we'll be back hopefully next week or within the next couple days for our main Clone Wars show. And of course, check you back here sometime next week for Andor episode 5 coverage. So until then, may the Force be with you always.